7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody, and happy Cyber Monday, and welcome to X-Wingin It. And I am here again with my co-host, Brendan. And again, I'm excited to be back. We got a lot to talk about today, the collectibles. Before we get into that, let's do a shout out to our sponsor, TRG Toys and Collectibles. I want to thank them for making this show possible. Check them out at trgtoys.com and check out their Star Wars, Marvel, you name it. They have it. Check them out today. So, Brendan, welcome back. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. I know I did. Did you enjoy a lot of good turkey?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to go wrong with a holiday that's all about eating, right?
Exactly.
Just
I think
cut
I
the
had a
other
few too
crap
many.
out and dig in. So always
Yeah,
good
the
time.
good old mashed potatoes got me good. But so we're gonna have a fun show today. So obviously we're gonna talk about collectibles. Taking a break from kind of the Star Wars news because there really isn't a lot of it movie wise and stuff out there right now. We can talk about the same things, but we're gonna go to the collectible thing today and kind of talk about where we are, how we feel we are in the collecting market today and what we feel about some of the stuff coming out and things like that. But first, I'll let you start. Obviously, you are kind of more of the expert for the comic side of things. And I know there's a few series that are going on right now with some special, variant covers, which actually I'm going to ask you about because I haven't really seen a lot of advertisement for a ton of variant covers now. So one of the things I want to talk to you about is do you see a decline in the covers going on right now in this market? But I'll let you kind of talk about what's coming out, what's out there, and what are your thoughts on the comic book market right now?
Yeah, so I think it's still pretty healthy. There's still a lot of covers and stuff. A lot of the kind of exclusives and a lot of the hype has moved to like Whatnot, and conventions and stuff. So I think right now I think the comics are amazing. As far as the place they're in, we've got the High Republic coming out now, going into its third arc. We have kind of this. So for a while we had IDW doing some of kind of the all ages books.
Yeah.
And that moved from IDW to back to Dark Horse. So it's cool seeing Dark Horse making Star Wars books again.
Yeah.
So they just wrapped up. I think they're either on the last or second to last issue this month, like Hyperspace Stories, which was just a fun read, all ages sort of stuff. And then what else we got out there? Kind of your main series, your Vader, Bounty Hunters, Star Wars, and then Dr. Aphra. They've been, I think, pretty consistently doing these crossover events. You had War of the Bounty Hunters, you had Crimson Reign, you had Hidden Empire, and now you've got Dark Droids going on. So sometimes that's a little exhausting because you feel like you're jumping between a bunch of books, but as a collector, it's just offering more variants, more sets and things like that to chase and to grab. So
yeah.
I think it's in a healthy place.
The Bounty Hunter series
about
to the end of the storyline right now?
What's that?
Isn't the Bounty Hunter series just about to the end of its storyline right now?
I think we're getting close to the end of the storyline with a lot of these. Just in there's only so much further they can go before they hit Return of the Jedi. They're cramming a lot into that 3-year gap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see where stuff is going to go within a year from now, because at some point they're hitting the end of the stories they can tell within the trilogy era without kind of doing a reboot or jumping back to a different time frame.
And it's obviously I have to get kind of freshen myself back up with the comics and some of the the variant covers. I used to be really big into getting all those different variants and stuff. But definitely got something I have to work on more is my Star Wars side of things. But what I find interesting is how these stories keep going, how we're getting there. And I'm really hoping that the one series I kind of hope we'll get some more of is, not just the Bounty Hunters, but, the Balin Skull, and in Ahsoka series is obviously we need that arc somewhere. So hopefully we'll get a comic series with that. But we'll see when that happens there. But let's get into something a little bit more that I can help and talk a little bit more about. And obviously, and that is some of the collectibles today that we try to hunt down. And first thing we're going to start with is we're going to talk a little bit about Funko. So obviously Funko has a lot of stuff out there. I remember back in the day waiting in line, out of Target, buy me toys, all these places.
I mean, that's how we met outside of, what was it, Hot Topic or Barnes and Nobles, waiting for
so.
like Comic-Con drops, man. It was way back.
But yeah, I mean, that's, there were so many good stories, and like, unfortunately, a lot of that has disappeared. Because now it's hard to even get anything in a store, it seems like lately. And then Funko, seems to be, I don't know about you, but I feel like it's starting to repeat itself with a lot of things. And I know they have licensing agreements they have to abide by and everything there, but I just find it, interesting how hot at one point it was, where we remember just going out there and seeing everybody lined up. And now if there's kind of a release, you drive by, you don't have that anymore. And, I kind of miss those days. I mean, what are your thoughts? And I'll get into one of my biggest pet peeves right now in a little bit here about Funko, but what are your thoughts about the Funko market? Are we seeing I know we are seeing a little bit of die, but do you think it's heading towards a crash, or do you think they're kind of rebuilding themselves with like their sodas and their other stuff that they're doing right now?
So I think it's definitely shifted from a lot of it being in physical to, I feel like a lot of it's online. And I think that's been a lot of collecting has kind of made those shifts, as you see some of the stores closing down or rebranding or refocusing. So yeah, I mean, it's been forever since I've gone to a physical store and waited for something to come out. Now it's a lot of, okay, I've got my alarm clock set for 9 a.m. I know these are gonna, or 8:59. These are gonna drop at 9 a.m. I'm gonna sit there for 5 minutes and hopefully the website works and I'm gonna get them or I won't. And it just, like, sometimes it feels a little out of your hands, or there's not much you can do about it besides hope.
It's that's one of the things about it is, I do miss, like I said, but that's how we met. That's how we met a lot of the friends in this group. Was sitting outside of the mall and chatting and getting ready for those drops. But one of my biggest pet peeves right now is the repeat of characters that we're getting. Really the main, like for me, the main focus is Star Wars Rebels. Everyone knows how much I love Star Wars Rebels, and I was 100% on that collection until Target released another Thrawn, which, okay, that's nice. Now we have 2 Thrawns. And then another release, and can't remember who it's exclusive to, was another Sabine. So here we are with a very small series as it is of Funko Pops for Star Wars Rebels. And now we have a 3rd Sabine Pop and a 2nd Thrawn, when there's so many other characters that we could be adding, because I know when a while back, one of the Funko events, they actually showed other characters that were supposed to be produced, and nothing ever happened of it. It kind of just disappeared. So that's one of my main things is, as a collector, is I don't need, and I know this sounds funny coming from me, I don't need 28 Boba Fett's, even though I did pick up the Target retro one right here. But
that one was fire. Like that looks,
that one's a little different, but I mean, look how many Boba Fett modes from molds we have, from chrome to red, yellow,
even the ones that aren't new
chrome
molds, they're just recolorings of
they're just
old molds.
And it's just like, I'm ready for some new characters. I need some new. We have so many characters in the Star Wars world that has not been touched yet with Funko, and it's time. So that's one of my kind of pet peeves with that.
I will say my only counterpoint to that is when you think about the Thrawn Pops that are out, they were, I think, wasn't it Smuggler's Bounty? So that subscription box was the only way to get the original. Or maybe it was
I think it was San Diego or Celebration. It was a con exclusive,
But I mean, there's a whole era of collectors that if they didn't get in on it then, that's true. A $50 pop.
Yeah.
So it is nice that they're releasing it again, in the sense that it is some people's first time to pick them up. And those are just kind of to those Rebels ones. Those are some of the less egregious ones. When you look at, there's like 30 different Grogus. And it's what Grogu holding a butterfly, Grogu eating a frog, like Grogu with a macaroon, and you're just like, do we really need another one of these?
Yeah.
Because I mean, Mandalorian's only been out for a small period of the entirety of the Funko Pops even. And I think Grogu is probably has the most pops of anything.
It's either him or
So,
I think Ray's up there pretty high.
yeah,
Boba Fett's up there pretty high, and Luke. I don't even think Luke has that many. So it's
there's a
definitely one of
decent
those
number,
things
but
that
yeah, it just seems like when they get the new stuff and it's popular, they sometimes just beat it till it's dead.
yeah.
Um, but I mean, I
And then
guess
what's also I find interesting too, especially like even now with like the Black Friday sales and Cyber Monday, is there's some of these that you kind of now wait. And that's what I find very interesting too. Is like we're finding some of these pops that are releasing at $20 to $15 for an exclusive, we're now finding for $4.99 on Amazon. And we'll talk a little bit about the other places like the bargain zones and the bargain stores and all that are
yeah.
getting all kinds of Star Wars product that we couldn't find in stores, and all of a sudden here they are at all these outlet stores. And we'll get into that part a little bit later there, but
No, I
it's you
mean,
used to be wanting to hurry up and get it. Now it's like, well, I'm gonna wait because now I'll probably get it, 70% off.
yeah, I know like a lot of the GameStop ones, they had some of the bigger, um, like larger pops. Uh, and I mean, a lot of those were 20 when they released, and they're like buy one, get one free at $5 right now, online. The counterpoint is that's only some of them. Like I think there was like a Red Blade series that was a bunch of Sith, and like all of them are easy to get except for the Savage one.
Yeah,
But I think it would still, if you've got all 6 of them, even paying more for that one, you're still averaging out pretty good.
yeah,
So, um, yeah, I think a lot of times there is kind of like that fear of missing out, but and also sometimes it's you just want to get it when it comes out because then you have it, and there's no, do I wait a month? Do I wait 3 months? But yeah, more and more it's hurry up and like you can sit on some stuff and pick it up later for cheaper. So might as well.
okay. And anyone out there watching, let me know. Can you let me know if I'm coming through okay on this? I am having all kinds of glitchy and technical issues going on right now on my world. I don't know if my internet's getting ready to go out. So if it does, I want to apologize to you all ahead of time. But I seem to be kind of glitching a lot on my end. So I don't know what's going on. The good old weather here is obviously making our internet run really slow over on this side of town, I'm guessing. So hopefully it won't cut me off, but just to give you all a heads up, hopefully everything's good for that. So we'll go on to the next kind of area, and that's Hasbro. Hasbro's been, Black Series, the Vintage Collection, definitely some good series that are out there. We'll talk a little bit about the Vintage Collection first, because this is one series that seems to be hit and miss. There's some that are really popular. Now, obviously, the HasLab with the Ghost, that blew up for the Vintage Collection series. But what are your thoughts on the Vintage Collection? Is this a line that you thought that would be this successful right now, especially with the Ghost? Obviously, the Rancor didn't make it, but that was a huge price point on that. And then, what are your thoughts on the price points that we're looking at with these figures?
So I do like the Vintage Collection being a little less. And I think like the classic look is cool. I know there's been, I think some of the popularity too is a lot of people haven't liked the current Black Series boxes with the
Yep.
cover over the figure. Um, they want to be able to display what it is they have. So I think the Vintage Collection, the presentation of it looks great. They're smaller figures, lower price point, and the detail and quality is still there. So I think it's been a cool set. I've picked up more Vintage Collection ones than I have of Black Series. Kind of precisely for those reasons. Also, some of the characters I like have been on that and not regular. So, or they were
Yeah.
there first. But
Yeah, it seems like the Vintage Collection started off pretty hot, and then, but I've also noticed too with some of them, like obviously the Boba Fett tax, I'll use for example, like some of the exclusives were, pretty pricey for just the smaller figure. or some of them were even hard to find. And again, like unbelievable. If anybody follows the Midwest Star Wars Fanatics page, knows that, like, for example, the comic book Boba Fett vintage collection figure that I think I saw maybe one time at Target, there were like 40 of them at a new outlet store that opened up here. So it's just weird how, like, sometimes they're hard to find and all of a sudden they're showing up in like outlet stores and everything like that. But again, it's a fun figure. It's more, more towards like, us growing up with our smaller figures. And then we got the retro collection too, which I actually like more than the vintage collection because it gives me more of the nostalgia feel of anything. And they're just kind of fun just to sit there and think about, okay, this is what Ahsoka would look like if it was made in 1978. This is what, Thrawn would look like. So it's I like the retro stuff there. And it seems like, we had those prototypes pop out with the retros and stuff like that. But again, to me, the hardest part of collecting right now, and we're going to talk about this in the Black Series here, it's just the price points just seem to like just keep going up. I remember when, back when we first met, and back in the collecting days when, you go to Walgreens and pick up, a Black Series figure for $15.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like that long ago that they were 15, $18 consistently. And now you're lucky to find them under 30.
Yeah. And that's what that's what kind of pushed me into the kind of like the statue and the statue world, because if I'm going to pay 30 for a figure, I can pay, 50 for one of the, the Gentle Giant Diamond Select, dioramas, that they have. And, you get, something bigger, more quality, things like that. But, the Black Series, I remember, it had the orange line, which was fun to collect, really got us into everything. And then I just feel like, and this might be just me, but I feel like the exclusives killed us. Like, I feel like we just like, everything was like exclusive this, exclusive this, exclusive this. The only way you can get it is going by Hasbro. The only way you can get it is going by Target. And it just seems like everything's so exclusive. And I understand they don't want to make a lot, but at the same point, some of it was so hard to get. And that's what turned me away from the Black Series. I know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, that gets like the exclusives are fun if you feel like you have a reasonable way to get them. And when it's a online exclusive, that price point always just feels like it's bumped up a bit because it's going to be the $30 and then you have to pay for shipping. Or you have to do what I do and buy 2 of them so you get free shipping, and now you're just sitting on a second one for no reason. Because you refuse to pay shipping. But and then when you have, I think like with the Walmart ones, with the Target ones, with the Walgreens ones, it's frustrating that there's never kind of a clear date when they're going to be in stores. There's the online, like, pre-sales sell out almost instantly. And then you're kind of stuck. Like, do I wait it out? Do I watch for it? How limited is it actually going to be?
Yeah.
I know I can get it on eBay. I'm paying a premium for it and I hate it, but is that what I have to do for it? Or do I just have to wait and hope that when they finally show up in stores, someone says something about it, I'm able to get there before someone who's just going to clear out the entire rack and put them on eBay does.
Yeah.
So
and that's what kind of sucks. It's so limited of what they're getting. And then like you said, like the price points, like if you remember the Emperor Palpatine deluxe figure, I think was at the time was like $20, 30 or $30 maybe. And you had a lot with it. You got a little chair and you got everything else. And then all of a sudden you have a Boba Fett deluxe figure. And it's just because his helmet removes and you can take his jetpack off for $30, and it kind of just went just crazy on how, the prices, like we had that huge TIE fighter, which I think was what, 150 when it came out. The land speeder, things like that. And the prices weren't bad, but then all of a sudden, you're paying for these deluxe figures or regular figures are being called deluxe figures. And they're pretty much just the regular figures with an extra accessory. So I know that's kind of pushed me away a little bit from that. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll see, there's some good stuff coming out. I like some of the Black Series, but they really seems like it is, again, like Funko, are getting repetitive in a lot of the stuff. And I really thought we were getting kind of down a new road when they were doing like the Jackson. They're doing like the comic book line and stuff. That was pretty exciting. Like those were new characters. We were getting new stuff.
I liked when they were doing like the fan favorites and letting people vote.
So yeah, it just kind of faded. It just kind of faded out. So I mean, that I was excited about that direction, and then just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
So from Black Series, obviously we talked about again, and what is going on here? I'm sorry, everybody, tonight. This is fun. I got stuff popping up on my screen, and I don't know what it's doing. Okay, we're good here. I'm back here. So the next thing we'll talk about is obviously the statue line of things. But one thing I wish I would see more of, if you're familiar with Diamond Select and Gentle Giant, they have some great figures and statues in their lineups. Now, Diamond Select doesn't do too much with the Star Wars side of things like Gentle Giant does, but they have released a few figures like the Boba Fett, the Stormtrooper, and Chewbacca, I believe. And they were $30, but they were bigger than the Black Series figures. They had more articulation, and there's just so much different things with those. And I was like, oh man, I hope we get more from this lineup. And then all of a sudden, again, it just kind of fizzled and then went more towards their statues. I don't know if you like, it's kind of like their Marvel Select figures. Great lineup there and everything. But because of the prices of Black Series and stuff, this is kind of the direction I went to, was like Gentle Giant and stuff, because they have some good price points. And again, like before, you used to be able to buy a bust for like $50 or $60, and now they're like $100. They jumped up too. But what are your thoughts on, if you're familiar with the Marvel Select or the Star Wars Select lineup, would you like to see more of those figures from Diamond Select? And then what are some of your thoughts and some of your observations from Gentle Giant that you're seeing with some of their releases?
Yeah, so I think like more is always better to a degree. And I think the fact that they are quality pieces and they feel, there's kind of that point where is it a collector's piece or is it a toy? And when they start to have that like level of articulation, swappable parts and things like that, and it really feels like they're made to be displayed as opposed to made to be played with, it's cool.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, if they go back to doing those, if they release characters that I'm interested in, I'll look at them. With Gentle Giants, I've purchased a couple of their busts. I think I've got like a Boba Fett one, I've got an Afra one, I've got a 000 one, and I've got a Black Kirstani one.
Yep.
And I like them.
Yeah.
It's, once again, you're really getting that detail. They look sharp. And I think with the busts, I mean, you get kind of like the coolest parts of the character.
Yeah.
With the most detail. So I think it's a good option.
Yeah.
And I think like
Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Well, and then I think as a collector too, it is one of those things like, yeah, you're talking about $150 price point. And I know sometimes like with pops or something like that, it's $10, it's $15.
Yeah.
But when you're buying 30 of them, at the end of the day, would you rather have 30 pops that you may or may not be able to, like the room that they take up?
Yeah.
Or one really nice figure? So I think that's kind of what it's started to become for me, because I'm buying so many of the other stuff. Like maybe I just want one or two really nice pieces as opposed to a bunch of more casual pieces.
Yeah, because I'm not into like posing and stuff like figures and everything else. I don't have the patience for it, and I just want to be able to take something, set it, and display it, and be done with it. That's one of the things I like about, the Gentle Giant statues is most of them are, a couple pieces, you put it together, you display it, you're ready to go. What I really like is, their Clone Wars, their Rebels, the mini busts that they produce. There are some amazing ones, like the Cad Bane bust is probably one of the best ones they've made so far to date. I still say that's their best mini bust that is made. Zeb looks really good. Hair looks really good. The one thing I kind of don't like, but it's still kind of cool, is the realistic bust. Like, for example, they did an Ezra for Rebels, that they didn't use the animated style. Instead, they kind of made him more of a realistic style. So it doesn't really look like Ezra. Now, it might look like the new Ezra if he shaves his beard, but it's different. They did that with Rex as well, too. So they had those different kind of settings there. Now they're milestone statues. I don't know if you can see back, on the thing here, like the Ahsoka and the Darth Maul from the Clone Wars, just amazing pieces. They rival just about any other piece that's out there. They look good, they're detailed, they're just some great things there. So that's why I kind of went towards that lineup, with the statues and things like that, just because of, like you said, I would rather have one nice piece than 40 pops sitting around, which unfortunately I do have, like,
I mean, some of us just have both of those, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's my take on kind of like the Diamond Select stuff. Now, what I also like too, and I don't have one near, you can kind of see on the back shelf there for the Mandalorian there with the Baby Yodas, are the jumbo figures. Like, I'm starting to get kind of hooked on these things, and I don't know why. And I know it's a path I don't want to jump down, but I have a strange feeling I'm going to end up jumping down this path, because there's something, they're addicting. They're like, hey, our childhood figures, now they're this big and they're really cool looking, and they come in these cool packages. I have like the Thrawn from, I think it was San Diego Comic-Con. I got a few of the Fets. Tarkin was $12 on Entertainment Earth this weekend.
Oh, wow.
So obviously I picked that up.
It'd just be irresponsible not
to. It's another, great product from them. It's fun. It's not like it's a good market, and it's fun. Like you said, the more the better. I'm really enjoying these jumbo figures. I don't know what your thoughts on these things are, but I love the jumbo figures.
I know. I've got one. I'm trying to get the 000 one. I've been watching to see if that drops. But yeah, once again, it's got that classic kind of feel to it. With the size, there is more detail, and they're well made.
Yeah.
It does get scary sometimes with those bigger items. Like, once again, going back to like the pops, like, where did you draw the line with like those with the pops? Because I know like the regular 4-inch, then they did like this. They've got like a jumbo like Boba Fett pop.
Yeah, I don't have the huge gigantic one, and I've got a few of the 10-inch ones. I kind of, honestly, my turn away from Funko was just the exclusives. Like, it just got too much to try to track down things, and that's what kind of, if I find one here and there, like I said, like the Boba Fett at Target, I just happened to see one there, and so I grabbed it, and that was a fun looking one. It's different. I like it, but I really kind of went away from the Funko lineup because it was just so hard to, like we talked about earlier, it's just so hard to track everything down, and there's just so much. And that's what I kind of like about, these more expensive, items, is like, you don't have like 5 million. I mean, yeah, there's quite a few Ahsokas, but each one's different. It's not the same mold where, hey, it's Ahsoka chrome gold, it's Ahsoka this, it's
when you're making $100 plus figures, you can't just pump out 40 of them, because the market's more limited.
Yep. And they're all limited. Like you said there, with the market more limited. Like, some of these are like limited to 1,000 pieces. Some are like 3,000 pieces.
I mean, there's only so many people out there buying them.
Yeah.
And I think like once you get to that price point, especially when you can buy them direct from Diamond or Gentle Giant, you start to lose, I think, like the margins that like scalpers are really looking for. Like some of these are 3,000 pieces, but you don't see all 3,000 sell out the day of.
Yeah.
And then 2,000 of them show up on eBay the next day.
Yep.
It's harder for them to flip those, I think, and the margins become riskier. So
Yeah. So
it is
that's
nice
been my
to know you
enjoyment
can,
anyways.
yeah.
So let's go on to the next thing, because obviously this is like the glorified action figure we've always wanted as kids, and that's obviously, you know, Hot Toys and Sideshow there. Now I do have a few Hot Toy Boba Fett's, and not Star Wars related, but I have the Clint Eastwood. But I have Boba Fett, Mando, and Ahsoka. I had to look and see what I had. But you know, these are fun, but for me, I like how they look. They're displayed nicely, but I know I'm not doing them justice because I said earlier, I'm not one of those, I'm not a poser. Like I just don't like to mess with them. I've seen people snap arms, and to me, I'm very reluctant in moving these things around. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the hot toy market? What are some of your favorite ones on there? And what do you think about, I mean, the price points aren't for the average collector. You know, obviously these ones are a little bit more. So tell me what your thoughts on all that is.
Yeah, so that's I don't think I have any Hot Toys figures. And it is that price
Don't
point
do
that's
it.
kind of kept me out of it. Um, but I do think kind of in my mind they're in that same line of Gentle Giant and whatnot. I mean, they're a little higher, but it's the you know what you're getting, you know it's quality, it's an investment. I don't I mean, I'm sure there's a people out there that get all of them, but usually it's, you know what? I want that Boba Fett one. Like this
Yeah.
is my favorite character. I'm going to get that $300 piece. It's going to be like a centerpiece in my collection. Um and people go for it. And I think they're really good in that sort of level.
Yeah.
I think one day I'll probably get one. I know if they ever announce a Dr. Afro one, I'm probably in. So, yeah, I just quality product, you know what you're getting, but it is an investment. And yeah, not for everyone. I think
So
like the
John
price
May
point on
here.
these is like 300.
Yeah, so you're looking at, John, first of all, thank you for watching. And so we're looking at, you know, around 250 to 300 depending on the figure. Some of the deluxe figures can get up to 500. I know there's a Boba Fett that's a 2-pack that has, you know, the new armor and then him with his robe, you know, on from there from the Mandalorian. But yeah, you're looking at your Hot Toys figures. You're looking at around, you know, just for the action figures, you're looking at between, you know, $200 to $300 average. Now you can also talk about like statues from Sideshow and stuff like that, where then you're getting into, you know, $500 to $1,000 depending on what statue you're looking at. So there's definitely the price market jumps really high on some of the quality there. You know, I kind of like, my limit is, you know, the Hot Toy stuff. That's usually about where I would draw my price point from. But yeah, I mean, it could jump up real quick, John. You know, in this market, it's definitely, but again, as Brendan said, if you're looking for that centerpiece item, you know, then that is what you want to do is, you know, you save up, get that piece that you want. And, you know, that's your main collectible there. You know, like for example, mine is, you know, obviously everyone knows I'm a Boba Fett fan. So my centerpieces are, it's hard to see, can't see my other case here, but you know, I have the Boba Fett Hot Toys all in that case as well. So, but yeah, the price market's up there pretty high, and it can get brutal if you're a huge collector. I know some people that get every release, and I don't understand where they find all the room to put it, and also
Yeah.
my wallet would be hurting. So I hope that answers your question, John, on there. And so obviously, you know, Hot Toys is out there. There's some good pieces, you know, coming up. But one thing that we haven't talked about yet, and I forgot to put the little logo on my slide, and one of my favorite things is Legos. Now, Legos have been around forever. We all love, you know, the Lego market. And, but again, just like everything else, you know, these prices have jumped. And so, you know, you as a collector, again, you got to see, where am I drawing the line? You know, this is probably the first Black Friday weekend, Cyber Monday weekend that I really didn't buy any Lego sets, like, because there wasn't really any that I needed for one. But this, you know, there were some good sales out there, but it was just, you know, the prices are kind of getting there. And again, you got to find all the room to build them. But I mean, Brandon, I know you're a Lego collector like myself. What are your thoughts on the Lego markets, and what are some of the ones that you're looking forward to or hoping to maybe get this year?
I mean, I'm a big fan of the Costco sets. As
Mm-hmm.
far as just, I mean, that's the way to go. When they have them in. But I've kind of kept to the different ships when I collect Legos. I think those are what I find to be really cool, and good design, as opposed to, I guess, more of like the when people are standing around or it's a scene.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm excited for. I want to pick up the new Ghost at some point. Um, but yeah, I'm a huge Lego fan. But at the end of the day, I've got 20 sets in a pile in my basement that I haven't built, and I don't have the room for. So I need to focus on that and enjoy the ones I have.
Yeah.
But I've really liked like the new diorama sets they've had. I've started to kind of pick those up because I feel like those are just very displayable. That is the problem with some of these ship ones. You build them, then what do you do with them?
Yeah.
They are hard to display.
Yeah.
I know I have a slave one of the older ones, and then I ended up buying like something someone put together on like Amazon or eBay that was a setup of Legos to then hold it up and display it. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's unreal how quick they take up room. As a matter of fact, my Legos have been moved down to the basement now because there's just no more spot to put them in my office.
and I mean,
But it's in like you said though, the big thing, everybody who's listening here, if you if you have a Costco membership, check out their Legos, man, because they're usually like Ahsoka's ship, for example, 70, I think what, $70 regular
yeah,
price
they
or
start
90.
off 10 to 15 less than even on like the Lego website.
No,
And you
and
just
then
don't
it
see
was
sales on Legos often.
yeah,
So, and then every now and then they'll drop them like another $15 off. So I think
yeah.
like that Ahsoka ship was 70 marked down to 60 and then available for like 45.
Yeah, I picked it up for 50 at Costco.
Okay,
So yeah,
yeah, so 45, 50. And I think like the other day I saw them, there was just a handful left and they were down to that price again. I'm like, I already bought one of these, but like the price is so good. Do I just grab 3 more? Like I can't
yeah,
do that. But um yeah, that's kind of always my watching Target for sales. Legos May 4th sale is always pretty
yeah.
good, but they add up fast. And I mean, I love the UCS sets. Like
Yeah,
those are like, did you like they just dropped the Vindicator series? Like, oh, and those look amazing.
yeah,
But they're gonna set you back $400 or $500 for those big sets.
yeah. It's
And I
just
know people that have all of them and have them displayed and they look amazing. But I mean, that's a dedicated room of your house.
yeah.
So
That's why I had to migrate them down because I couldn't, with the statues and everything else, I couldn't display both. I know, big problem, right? But it's
first world
definitely
problems, right?
but yeah, just like the Lego sets that are coming out, like my favorite, obviously, the Slave one, obviously I have
Boba
just
Fett
about every one
Starship.
of those made. The Death Star, with all the minifigures and everything, that's probably and that's another thing too. I tell people, look for clearance deals. I got the Death Star at Target before it retired for $250.
Yeah.
So you can always find those clearance deals. I always walk around the back aisles at Meijer and Target and stuff. You never know what you're going to find on clearance. I'm giving away all my secrets here, but you never know what you're going to find there.
Yeah, I think I got the
Everything.
original Ghost for like $40 on clearance.
Yeah. So
So
it's
they're out
unreal.
there.
And then like, I mean, right now, let's say Legos has a, higher investment or resale value than gold. I believe it was some of these sets. They skyrocket the
Yeah.
minute they retire.
Yeah, and I
So
think it's
it's
so
just,
interesting how the value is in the minifigures a lot of the time.
yep.
Some of these sets, like if you want to hold on to the ship and the piece itself, but you just want to sell the minifigures out of it, you can still double your investment.
Yeah. And John, I missed out on the Star Destroyer. I am so mad. And I remember looking at that set so many times and like, oh, I'm going to get it. And then I never did. And then all of a sudden it retired. So I never got that original Star Destroyer. That one, and one not Star Wars related one that I kicked my butt for not buying was the Simpsons house.
Yeah,
Those
that
are
was
the
very
two
cool
sets
set.
I really kicked myself in the butt for not picking up when they were available there. But another thing that, you know, has really picked up, I noticed a lot lately in the collectible world too, and we'll talk about a little bit before we get off here tonight, is autographs. Those that know me, I'm a huge autograph collector. I love autographs. You know, I love putting together. You can see a couple behind me, just a couple there. But it's kind of amazing how the autograph market, and we talked a little bit today before the show about Mark Hamill. You know, how he was, you know, $500 a pop just for an autograph, and that's, you know, before any other kind of special things or anything that you ordered and stuff on there. You know, a lot of people say, well, I don't know if that's worth it. But for someone who doesn't sign a lot, you know, it might be, you know, one that you put that money down on. I know the autograph market is very touchy. I'm going to talk about a few things I like and I dislike about the autograph market, but, you know, what are your thoughts? And I know you collect a few of them. You know, are you a person that has to get them in person, or would you send out for assignments? You know, what are some of those autographs that if you see them announced at a convention like C2E2 that you're definitely going to get?
Yeah, so I think all the autograph pieces I have, as far as I think in general, like I've got a couple autographed comic books. There's a few autographed books I picked up that someone else signed, but all my pops I've gotten signed myself, and we're talking a handful.
Yeah.
And a lot of my books too. So for me, it's always been the experience of getting someone to sign, being able to say you met them, being able to recount meeting them, more so than the signature itself.
Yeah.
So, and I think I don't see that changing for me anytime soon. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is that shows like last year C2E2, the fact that all the Clone Wars guys were there, like that was a blast. Got all those signatures, went to the panel they did. Uh but I'm also not someone that I'm ever gonna pay $300-400 for a signature, or for that like the photograph or the quick meeting.
Yeah.
To me, the the value is just not there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's one of those things that anytime I see someone who does it and is super into it, it's never one of those things I'm like, you're wasting your money, or like, why would you do that? Like, I get it. The signatures are cool. Um, and it is such a great experience meeting these actors and voice actors, artists, writers. Like, I mean, it's a lot of fun. So
Yeah. You
I
know,
think it's
with
a cool
me,
market.
and obviously I'm a little bit more of an autograph collector than you are.
Yeah,
um,
just a little
and
bit.
you know, I have, you know, hundreds, and you know, I've met, I'd say like 90% of mine have probably been in person. You know, I have sent out, you know, I've had you actually get some for me, especially after my you know, it seems like I
Yeah.
have a surgery every C2E2 lately. But at the same point now, I'm trying to, one of my biggest regrets is I always liked having my pops autographed. Well, now I kind of wish I would have went more for cast pieces, like on posters and stuff like that, which, like, I'm working on the Mandalorian right now.
Mhm.
um you know, I have McGregor, I've got Hamill, I've got, you know, Christensen, I've got most of the autographs from the big Star Wars names. But you know, I'm not going to drop $1,200 for Harrison Ford. It's just not going to happen. um, Pedro, I will definitely, if he pops up, I need him on that poster to complete my poster. That's like my main thing. And then I'm also scared too. Like, if there is a send in, um, yeah, we should get a lunch for some of these prices that we are paying for these autographs. But for me, it's like, you know, it's the mission. It's my, I want to keep adding to these posters. I don't care how small the actor is. You know, I want to add them to my Mando poster. I want to add them to, you know, my Clone Wars. You know, and it's like one of those things that I enjoy doing. I think the last big money one I'll spend for though is to finish my Mandalorian poster. Because all the other big names I'm pretty much okay on. But yeah, the autograph market. But one of the things that's starting to happen now, and which is starting to push people out, and I like to know your thoughts on this as well, is now we're seeing upcharges in autographs. So if you're not using their 8x10 that's on the table and you're bringing a Funko Pop, they might charge $20 to $40 more because they're signing that Funko because they know people are reselling it. There's an actor, I'm not going to say names, that if they don't personalize it, then they charge, I think it's $60 for their signature, and then they charge $100 if you don't personalize it. And with me, I don't like my autographs personalized because one day I'm going to croak. I'm not going to be here. No one wants to Greg from Mark Hamill. No one wants to Greg from so-and-so.
I'll take it.
But, and that's why I don't get my stuff personalized, and that's why, to me, it's kind of hard. But I mean, what are your thoughts on these upcharges now we're seeing in the autograph world?
Yeah. So, I mean, that was one of the thing with some of the ones I got at C2E2. It was like another $5 or $10 if you wanted words on it. And it was like conveniently 6 words, may the force be with you, was like another like $6. And it's one of those things, I get it. And especially when people feel like their signature time is limited, and these resellers that are showing up with a lot of stuff are taking away from like the average fan who wants to get the piece. I do think that is a motivation for these actors and whatnot. Sometimes they just, and I don't know if they don't like the idea of someone else making a ton of money on their name or what it is, but I think if it's like, if it should be about the fan, it should be about the people. I think like charging extra money to get something written on there is rough, but I don't mind the personalization necessarily. I think the extra $100 is a lot, but I don't know. Or like maybe if you take the photo also, you can get it without the personalization, or there should be ways, but I think at the core of it, a lot of them are doing this because it's about the fan for them, and they feel like if it's getting personalized, this is an interaction between me and a fan, not an interaction between me and someone who's trying to make money off me.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things. And John brought up another good point tonight. Is it the agent? Is it the obviously the agent's got to get their cut, the convention's got to get their cut, and this is a way to make more money by saying, hey, this is, but there's some actors that charge another $100 for a quote, and I'm sorry, but that's quite a bit for me. And again, the quote's cool, but I don't really need one. I mean, I got a couple autographs that have some cool quotes on it, but it's kind of weird how this and the other thing that it's starting to really, and I'm sorry, I know I have some friends that do consignments and stuff, and I'm sorry if this offends any of them, but I was up in a convention in Michigan earlier this year, and I was in line for Jason Isaacs, and I was stuck behind a consignment company, and they had about 30 some pieces to get signed. So the line was already long enough as it is, and then they had to sit there and sign 30 pieces while also the guy was striking up a conversation with them, and everything else. So to me, it's getting harder because you got these consignment people coming in, and the actor doesn't know if they're a consignment or whatever, and it's just making it just this weird kind of awkward in line moments too, because here I am wanting one autograph and I'm waiting behind someone in line for 30 autographs. So I'm kind of hoping conventions start changing it up a little bit, where if you got more than so many, maybe it's a certain time, or who knows, that'll probably never change. But that's one of my pet peeves, is like being stuck behind all these consignment people. And I was like, I just want to get, go through. I know I'm not going to get a lot of time with this actor. Let's get the autograph move and, let's go on and get things going. But, that's one of those small things that grind my gears a little bit. on there. But again, I'm sorry, all my consignment friends. I understand that you guys trying to make a living, but I
And
hate
it
waiting
is one of
line.
those things they're doing it for sometimes for people that can't get there.
Yeah,
So it is a valuable service.
it
I
is.
think, and I do think there's a difference between someone getting 3 to 5 signatures and someone getting like 30 at one time. I don't think there's a problem with signatures putting a limit on like 3 items. Like if you need to get 30, stand in line 10 times. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, my heart sunk when I saw that guy pull out the stack of. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be here forever. Yeah. So it was definitely one of those things, and it's not a bad thing. I agree, because I've used people to get autographs from me as well. But man, it's just when you're sitting there in the 30s and 40s, and they're pulling all this stuff out, and there's quotes and everything else, it just it makes that line really go crazy there. But
yeah, and I do. And I think you see less of that with some of these actors who do the private signings.
Yes.
Because who's gonna, if Mark Hamill's gonna do a private signing and you can get something signed for $300 by sending it in, cool, do that. That's gonna be better than it's gonna cost, or even if it's still the 500 or 600, but you're not paying another person to do it.
Yeah.
So part of me wishes they would offer. I almost think if they offer more of that, yeah, it gives these resellers and kind of the business side of it more access, but it kind of frees up. They're not going to be there at the show. They're not going to be in line at the conventions if there's these other options and there's not the demand for it. So
yeah, it's like a double-edged sword. It's one of those things, like for Chris Evans at C2E2, they limit it to 2 per person. If you have more than 2 items, no, you only got 2 signed. So, that was kind of an interesting way they did that. Luckily, I had someone who was able to grab, one of their 2 for me during that time as well, because again, back up another surgery. But hopefully this year we won't have to worry about that. But
I mean,
again,
you're
everybody
almost
want to thank you all
at this point, aren't you?
I don't know. I'm at 14 right now. I like to stop at that. But everybody, thank you again tonight. We had another fun show tonight talking about collectibles. I mean, we could keep going on and on. There's so much stuff out there, and there's categories we didn't even touch yet. On that
trading cards.
Yeah, trading cards, pogs, all kinds of crazy stuff out there. But it's definitely a fun market. It's definitely a good escape. And every show I always talk a little bit about something very important to me, and that's obviously mental health. I had a lot of people ask me, what do I do to help escape? And obviously you see it behind me, and it's collecting autographs, statues, Funkos, talking Star Wars here online with all of you all. Pulp culture is the reason I'm here today, and I can't thank it enough. So if you're struggling, please don't be afraid. You're not weak for asking for help. Call 988. 3 simple numbers can help change your life and even save your life. And if you see a friend that looks like they're struggling, don't be afraid to ask them if they need help or if they're doing okay, because you never know, you might actually save their life as well. So again, everybody, I know holidays can be tough for people. Be there for everybody. If you need a chat, I know I'm always here. Brendan's here. We've got a great Star Wars community here at the Midwest Star Wars Fanatics. And it's one of those things that I never saw this group. I mean, we started as the Mishawaka Fanatics, and now we're branching out and other things. So it's a great feeling that we're here and we have such a great group of people that love Star Wars, and that's what's awesome about it. So again, everybody, thank you, Dennis at TRG Toys and Collectibles, for making this show possible. Check them out, trgtoys.com. You can see it there scrolling along the bottom there. You can't see my finger, but it's down there. You can see it. Brendan, thank you again for jumping on here tonight with me. We're gonna have some more guests here. Hopefully, I'm gonna have a special guest next week, or not in 2 weeks. Working on that right now. Can't tell anybody who it is. I don't know, but no, it's we always have somebody special on here. We're going to be hitting down kind of the art stuff of Star Wars here and as well. But next episode, 2 weeks from now, we're going to talk about some of our favorite Star Wars Rebel scenes. And so we're going to get into that. I can't wait to there. Brendan, I know I'm talking a lot right now. I'm excited that we're just back here. I'm enjoying it. I love it. John, thank you for being interactive tonight. Kevin, I saw you were on there as well. Anyone who's watching. Brendan, you got anything else for us tonight?
Nope. Thanks for having me again, man. Keep collecting, and yeah, just it's about enjoying it. So
Yeah.
I think with anything, if you're realizing it's too stressful and you're getting frustrated with trying to find exclusives, or that it's not bringing joy into your life anymore, take a deep breath, sit back, and just, is it worth it?
Yeah.
And just do it because you love it. Do it because it brings joy to you. Do it because you need some retail therapy every now and then, but it's about having fun.
Yeah, and again, everybody, you can follow me. I'll get Brandon here on the social media sometime soon, but you can follow me at NerdyVet574. It's a great escape for you guys if you need a break from the real world. I know it's stressful times out there, again, especially during the holidays. I know I'm never going to be YouTube famous. I'm never going to be TikTok famous. But if I can help one person, then I did my job. I reached out to them and able to make a difference. So follow me at NerdyVet574. You can also see some of my work over at the #show.com. And again, everybody, thank you so much. I can't wait to talk Rebels. If you think I'm excited now, wait till I start talking Star Wars Rebels. Because again,
It's gonna be
that's
hard
one
for
of
me to
my
get a
favorite
word in
series.
edgewise.
Yeah, you probably, Brandon, you're done. I'm like pushing you off. Like
This is Greg's show.
get you out of here. But no, can't wait to talk about the episode. Again, thank you, everybody. And until next time, may the force be with you.